So good morning, everybody. My name is Damien Turner from Turner Accountants Limited, based in Motherwell. Today, I am very fortunate to be in conversation with Alison Reid. Alison Reid is a credit control expert, and she's also an expert in T's and C's, and she's kindly gave up her time today so we can give you maybe a little flavour of how Alison could help your business. So good morning, Alison. How are you?
Morning, Damien. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yep, brilliant, brilliant. Alison, why should businesses have T's and C's or terms and conditions? And maybe just if you could explain what we class as having like T's and C's.
Yeah, that's not a problem. So I think the main thing is if you don't have T's and C's in place, you get those clients that WhatsApp you, text you, email you, and you're going back and forth because your client actually hasn't understood, what service they're getting or what product they're getting. It can protect your reputation. It can make you look more professional as well. And so your customer will know what to expect and there's no surprises for them. Even although, sometimes they maybe don't understand, you have that consultation anyway to go through everything, but then you have those clients that just message you non-stop, so which takes up your time and it drains you a little bit. You can also apply your own payment terms to your T's and C's as well. I think a lot of business owners think they should just have 30-day standard terms. However, with your T's and C's, you can apply whatever terms you want, whether that be a deposit, upfront payment, or even 7 days. I try and get business owners to go down to at least 7 days as well, which is, an eye-opener for some business owners because they do think that 30-day is a must as such. So yeah, that's why they should have them in place for the business. They're protecting themselves.
Okay. And Alison, we both work with a lot of kind of small to medium-sized businesses, and certainly if I ask a question to clients, have you got T's and C's, do you probably find that the majority of small businesses probably don't have them?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's quite an eye-opener for me. Excuse me, because it is the first thing that you should, when you're setting up your business and starting out, it's the first thing that you should have in place. So that, you obviously know what your business is providing and your clients know, what they're providing as well. So yeah, it's an absolute must for all business owners.
Okay. So thanks for that, Alison. And what, obviously you've been in the thick of it. What goes wrong? What if clients don't have T's and C's? What kind of horror stories, what things have went wrong? What have you seen in your own practical experience over the years?
I'm laughing, but it's not really that funny when I've got a client, phoning me in a bit of a state. A lot of business owners phone me when they're being reactive instead of proactive. So basically, they've already got themselves into some trouble. So when you have the he said, she said, that is completely irrelevant when you don't have a contract in place. And that's a lot of what I get. I've said this, I've said that. So it's really irrelevant. So consumers and businesses, if you're working with businesses, commercial businesses, then there are less laws in place compared to consumers. So this is a big thing that has obviously transpired over the last year because a lot of business owners have, changed a lot of their business model. So for example, one client came to me that I had done his T's and C's over a year ago. And I always ask the question, do you just deal with businesses? Do you deal with consumers? And he assured me he was only dealing with businesses. 6 months ago, he contacted me in an absolute panic. Trading Standards was at his door. They were absolutely questioning everything. And he said, I started dealing with consumers last November. And I thought, because consumers have more rights than business owners. So they do.
Like consumers, Alison, we're really talking about, it's a business dealing with an individual rather than a business to business, yes?
Yeah, so it's like if you're installing bathrooms in someone's house and your or my house, whatever we are classed as consumers. So you have to be really 100% watertight in consumers, or as I say, trading standards are down on you like a ton of bricks. So fortunately, I dealt with trading standards for my client, and explained the full situation. He didn't know, however, it could have been fined and his business even closed. But we managed to sort it. You can end up in court. The biggest reason for non-payment is a client then telling you your service or your product is not up to their standard. So you then issue your invoice and you're chasing it for a few months, even though, obviously with credit control, that shouldn't really be happening anyway, like waiting 3 to 6 months for the customer to then come back and say, well, your service is rubbish, so I'm not paying you. So then it starts a court battle, which is, horrendous for any business owner to go through, because that process can be 6 months to a year as well. So, they can say it wasn't up to standards, you didn't fulfill your obligations. I mean, that's obviously according to your customer as well. And what you also need to think about is if your client cancelled on you right now, even after you had started the work, what position would that put your business in? Do you have staff to pay? You have bills to pay? Maybe one client, it might be okay, but however, that could end up in a rolling, domino effect, that it just carries on. So, and the biggest one for me is trades. They end up buying the materials. They don't take the money off the client, or you have the trades triangle, as I call it. You have the top man, then you have the man in the middle, and then the subcontractors at the bottom, who are all wanting to get paid. Who's actually responsible for that? So if you don't have a contract in place, that's where it gets really messy. The trades, especially the building industry as well. So yeah.
Yeah, on that point, Alison, I mean, we do deal with a lot of clients in the construction industry, and more often than not, when you're having a meeting with them, any challenges will say, you'll discuss it in a meeting, and when you get a dispute with a customer, be it maybe a trade customer or a consumer, an individual, 9 times out of 10, there's no T's and C's. If they had laid their stall out with proper T's and C's, agreed what was going to happen, when they were going to get paid, they wouldn't have all the hassle you spoke about. And also, as well, it takes up an absolute inordinate amount of time and cost, which usually most business owners just don't want to deal with. So having proper T's and C's can, as you say, can prevent a big chunk of that hassle happening in the first place. Alison, maybe moving on to our last question today. What's the kind of, the most common, the typical service you can maybe do for clients, or maybe if you're putting T's and C's in place? A lot of people think a massive time-consuming exercise, or it's going to cost an absolute arm and a leg. How would you respond to that sort of kind of idea, if you like? Question.
Yeah, I think that is a common thing. I do get people saying to me, oh, it's too much hassle, or, I have to get all this information together. But the main thing, I have a small list of questions that I ask my clients, to try and take that stress away from them. And then I do the research on their business. So if you have a website, social media pages, I do a lot of research on that myself, because there are things that my client can miss. Like a bathroom fitter, said, oh, we just sell bathrooms. I go onto their website, but actually they have an installation pack, and, they have warranties, so I can actually take all that away, put the T's and C's together. So what I do as well is I also provide 2 drafts as well, just in case, there is anything that we want to change before I would provide a final copy. And the easiest way that I've found to do it is, instead of, and I used to do this, I used to send an email highlighting just a couple of parts of the T's and C's that I wanted, an answer on, or I needed confirmation of, and they might not understand it, because sometimes emails can come across a bit misconstrued. So I now do Loom videos. So I've got the T's and C's in front of me and I'm explaining it, you know, like in a chat as well.
Yeah.
But very, very rarely I have to actually go into the second draft because I will put in my recommendations as well, you know, and they'll come back and say to me 9 times out of 10, yeah, absolutely, go ahead with that. So yeah, I do try and keep it as stress-free as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're really saying, Alison, is you can probably do most of the legwork for the client.
Yeah.
Some of the information they've got, it doesn't need size for the client. You know, you're used to doing it, and obviously report back to the client with the sort of few drafts, etc.
Yeah.
What kind of time scale does it take? Maybe from, say, the client wants to get some T's and C's in place. So from maybe meeting with the client and agreeing things, and agreeing that you're going to work with them, and producing, like, say, a final usable T's and C's.
Normally it takes about 72 hours, around about that. That's the maximum time, unless they're just wanting a review done of their current T's and C's as well.
Almost very, very quickly can be done.
Yes, very quickly, yeah.
A week or two.
Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. And lastly, Alison, I did mention at the start that you've got sort of two sides to your business. You've got the terms and conditions, but you also, you know, you've got a very good background in credit control as well. So just, you know, for the last couple of seconds, what kind of help can you give clients on the sort of credit control side of things as well? Because I'm sure they're listening today would possibly be interested in that service as well.
Yeah, well, I can provide that actual process that suits your business, depending on the size of it. And that includes, you know, putting the actual process in place, providing the letter templates for your staff to send out, and what to apply in phone calls, especially with difficult customers. Okay, no one likes to deal with those difficult customers. So I would put all that in place for you to just, you know, work from your end, and that would reduce, you know, those phone calls and the bad debt as such. So yeah, that's very easy to do.
Brilliant. So you can really tailor a system to suit the client's needs and where they are credit control.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Alison, thank you very much for your time today. I'm sure any clients listening will find that very useful. If you need to get in touch with Alison or myself, our contact details at the end of this video. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening, and goodbye. And it's goodbye from Alison too.
Thank you. Any questions, just give me a shout.
Great.